Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Whiskey Tree Legends with Master Distiller Luka Cutura. Luka, how we doing, buddy?
We're doing great.
We're
A
doing
lot of big things happened this week that we could finally talk about that we're going to share later on. Weather's great outside. We got a full studio of people from Detroit, Jackson, Mississippi, Seattle, Washington, all here to see the show, and let's share the good news.
Well, they picked a hell of a time to come. So we're coming to you live from 7 3 Distilling Company, 301 North Claiborne, right outside the French Quarter. Super excited about that. Cocktails galore, flight specials. So it's going to be a fun time all the way around. All right, so I'm Joseph Quilio. Obviously, this is Luka. Luka, tell me a little bit about what's going on here at this distillery. What are we working on?
We just finished up the last 2 weeks of pure cucumber, Saint Rock cucumber vodka. And look, man, the whole distillery, like I said before, it smells like cucumbers. Now we're in the gin, the world of gin. When we create gin here, 5 blocks out the French Quarter, it's all about touching people in ways that they've never tasted gin before. Not so much dry, citrus forward, elderberry, elderflower, stuff that brings the spring and summer cocktails to life. And that's what we create. That's going to be almost a month worth of gin production. So aside from everything else we got going on, this time of year, y'all, these finishes are very touchy. We got to get juice out the barrel at the right time. And listen, that's how we win these awards that we were winning. You know what I mean? It's about pulling it out the finishing barrel at the right time. It's about knowing how the heat affects, and the pressure affects the juice in negative ways and positive ways. So getting it's like this, and you want to pull it out at its peak.
Absolutely.
So that's always going on though, finishing barrels.
Well, you mentioned the gin. We actually just got some big news today. We just finalized our restaurant and bar partners are going to be super excited because we got a new version of our Gentilly gin. The leaders, we're coming out with leaders, so it's going to be even more prevalent. It's been one of our biggest growing spirits. And we talk about our bourbon, we talk about our vodka, and yet the gin continues to grow. And I think this is just going to take it to the next level.
Best bang for the buck. That's what it's all about. It's the American market. If you're not in the spirits world, you're like, what's a leader got to do with it? You start trying to sell juice on the on-premise market, hotels, restaurants. If you ain't got leaders in downtown, they ain't talking to you. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely. And you talked about bourbon, so let's go ahead. We forgot to even mention, what are we drinking today?
This right here is the Blue Label Whiskey Tree Bourbon Blackberry Smash. Y'all, we got to get the ladies loving bourbon, because in the world of bourbon, they say it's a guy's world. It's a man's world. Not so much. 60% of all ladies have super sensory. They can smell deeper and taste deeper than any man can. So when you get them tasting bourbon and talking eloquently about the elegance that bourbon has to offer, and then you put it in their favorite lemonade, like a blackberry lemonade, and we call it a bourbon smash.
There we go.
It's selling like crazy in the distillery.
It absolutely is. And look, we've already got the Earl Grey, which has kind of got some similar characteristics. Obviously, that's a vodka drink. But this is the first time that I've had it since we introduced it to the menu. It's really good. I'm more of a traditionalist with bourbon. I like it neat, usually old-fashioned here or there. Attaboy. You just knocked that guest in the eye. We're going to have to give them a free drink.
Don't ever put a straw in
Don't ever put. That's a good point. I know. So I made them do that on purpose. But anyway, so this is actually really, really good. I enjoy it, and it's definitely refreshing also for summertime, don't you think? Great comeback there. Well done. All right, so Father's Day is coming up. We got some big barrels that are going to be released. What are the 2 clients that we have coming up?
Martin's is a big one.
Yeah,
a big release. Martin's has multiple stores between Metairie, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. They had a honey finish in the fall. Mm-hmm. Now they have another honey finish. It was such a hit. People enjoy it. That Bernard's honey is special in this part of the world. People enjoy honey that's made in their area. And when we take that honey and we don't overpower the bourbon, we just accent the nuances, really make you think and wonder, what is that? And not say, oh, that's honey right off the bat. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of a finish. So yes, Martin's barrel is going to be delicious. What is the other barrel we got coming out?
Well, we're going to be doing some work with Southside. They got their single barrel that they released a while back, and they're going to be doing a special promotion with Father's Day coming up
That's
as
what
well.
threw me off. It's actually 3.
Yeah.
So yes, Martin's, Southside, and also in Pearl River we got the Pilot.
There you go.
Pilot has a real cool honey finish coming out too.
Yeah. Well, look, and you mentioned the Martins one. The first time we did something with them, it flew off the shelf. I mean, they were coming back and asking us about something practically immediately. So this is the second iteration of that project. So
yeah, and that's a rye base. That is the Whiskey Tree Rye honey finish. So yeah,
that's a good one. That actually is one that I got to taste. All right. So anything else we got on the market before we go into the kind of the bigger news, not only here but also nationally? The big thing that kind of hit the spirits world over the last 6 to 8 weeks, hit us directly as well, which is, Republic National, been a company around forever, was our distributor.
Republic, who's that?
Yeah, well, that's exactly the point. So look, you were the guy that gets out, does more on the ground, meets with our customers, whether it be direct customers or bars, restaurants, hotels, stores. This transition has been something interesting. What have you heard from both the customers and then kind of your experience with
this transition? Has been not easy, to say the least. How about that? Forget about us. What about all the hardworking people that work for Republic? That's staying in there, that didn't get let go. That's living through going to sleep and waking up, not knowing if they have their job or not. And those good people are selling our product. They're pushing our product in the market, which I am very, very grateful for. Selling spirits in the world that we live in right now isn't easy.
Yeah.
And it's what sets you aside. And then when you have people that take pride in what you make and enjoy it and want to share it, and that work for another entity and has the energy that you have to sell it, I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
So they were just brought out by Reyes. And I got to clarify that, because we want to say Reyes. It's not Reyes.
Okay. You're teaching me something.
It's Reyes. That's the way they want it pronounced. Okay. Reyes. So I've heard.
Okay.
It's not the way we think it's spelled, but who are we? I mean, we like.
Yeah. Well, look, there's probably, we're in this world and we're living it. Obviously, we've known this for a little longer probably than the public, but a lot of the things that we're talking about, there's probably some of the audience that doesn't know. So to give a little background, Republic National was a main distributor basically throughout the country. And you started to see these little cracks about just them not being a viable business. And all of a sudden, Reyes started acquiring, as well as some other companies. We were kind of caught in the middle of this, because you hear all these different things with rumors, and this world is extremely hard to begin with. But basically what happened was that Reyes acquired, I'm going to go with Reyes. I'm going to trust you on that one. Reyes acquired, I think, 8 states from Republic, and we were one of the 8 states. And to say we put a lot of faith in that, I think, is an understatement. I know there's some things that were kind of internal, but we went long stretches as a company and as a business, didn't have a lot of understanding about where we were going to go and how we were going to get there. And I know that I and Jeff, the owner, talked a lot about what do we want to do? Do we want to stay? We actually had a conversation with a representative from Reyes that I thought was pretty positive. What was your take on that conversation about kind of what they see as a vision for us?
I'm excited about it. Yeah. In the market, there's people that come to me and say, look, you got to understand, the only thing we ordering from Republic is y'all's.
Yeah.
And that's not easy for them either. But we certainly appreciate it. But the new energy that comes in, the market share that they have, the market share that they're after, and how they want to promote our product and push it, I'm excited about. I've got an energy about myself to push it. That's what I'm doing every day. But to have people behind our product and wanting to sell it in the market actively is super fun and exciting for me.
I agree. And I think the other big thing for me was the focus on wanting to have a local product. Obviously, there's going to be national brands that are sold. That makes perfect sense. We totally get that. But hearing that there will be support for local, look, this is not a brand new company. They have a great, rich history. They've done, wine specifically, wine and beer if I'm not mistaken. The CEO just did this nice interview, kind of mentioning why they want to get into this market and employ some of their philosophies into it. For me, it was, I'm kind of the guy that obviously does a lot of the computer stuff, and it was very much a breath of fresh air. And then when you talk to the former Republican and current Ray's employees, you can tell there's a sense of energy. And with a lot of the stuff that we're about to talk about in the next segment, I think is going to bring us hopefully to that next level. So I couldn't agree with you more. So with that being said, we got some big news that we want to announce. Our next segment, we're not going to have a guest this time around, but this next segment is going to go really deep into some very huge awards that we've won. We actually have some more on the horizon that we're not allowed to officially talk about too much because we're under embargo. But we've got some very exciting news. There's kind of been an Easter egg on the table with it. But once we come back, we'll be able to go deeper into that. So stay tuned.
Did you know that New Orleans earned its historical reputation as the brewing capital of the South in the late 19th and early 20th centuries? Powered by a heavy influx of German immigrant traditions and its status as a major port city, the Big Easy was home to dozens of breweries, including giants such as Jackson Brewing, the Dixie Brewing Company, and Falstaff. Though the combination of Prohibition, post-World War II consolidation, and the floods of Hurricane Katrina decimated the industry, remnants of these glory days still stand. If only these walls could talk. What do you think they would say?
All right, welcome back. Joseph Quilio, head distiller Luka. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. And this is a special cheers.
Živio.
Right? There you go. And you need to teach me that Croatian. All right. So
we'll be saying
this
that
is
a little while.
I very much hope so. So we'll get to that at a different podcast on the travels of JQ.
That's right.
This is a very special episode for us because we finally get to make a huge announcement. The big thing for us, we had a huge award last year, right? And it was from the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. So before we get into kind of what that award is and what it means, why don't you give us a little background on what the San Francisco competition means in the grand scheme of things of the spirits world?
San Francisco World Spirits Competition. What that means to me is, put in layman's terms, it's the Oscar of spirits. Mm-hmm. It's the James Beard Award for restaurants in the spirits world. It is literally a panel of 75 globally renowned spirits professionals from 44 countries. Y'all, the largest judging competition in the world, literally. This is all facts. And it's only 26 years old. If you win this medal, the highest medal you have, it's definitely an indicator of craftsmanship. This is what we work for. Now we want to combine your palate with what we've created. So now it sparks interest. Let's go try this. If it's that good, let's go try it. Well, we know what makes it our own here. We know why, what creates the textures, the elegance, the finish, the mouthfeel that people are searching for. But there's one other element that's combined with that, and that's the name. That's the story. We feel like it's all encompassing. We've created this, and now we want to share it with everybody. And this smaller distilleries, craft distilleries, want to win big awards like this so they can find their hint of market share, and that's really what it is. But it is a huge competition, and we just call it San Francisco Worlds, but people just don't know what it is. It is the biggest judging competition in the world, not just with spirits.
Well, and look, I mean, you mentioned that there's a ton of these competitions, right? Like, I'm not going to name all of them, but you see. And look, every award you win, you should be proud of, 100%. Mm-hmm. I think it's a testament to hard work, your craft. But this one has a lot of special meaning. You mentioned the James Beard Awards. For me, I mean, we're here in New Orleans, right? Like in home of the cocktail, but culinary, everything that is exquisite about culinary has roots in New Orleans. I mean, that's been said many times over. And the James Beard Awards is like the ones that people talk about the most. And so when you mentioned it, but when I'm trying to explain, because the average drinker per se doesn't understand what this award is, but they do know the James Beard Awards because we talk about it all the time for New Orleans restaurants. That's what this is. This is an award that, you can't enter and maybe buy an advertisement to ensure you get a medal. You can't enter and everybody wins. Like, it's not that. To give you an example, the one that I talk about the most is, a few years ago, McKenna 10 won Best in Show. And it went from nobody knowing anything about it to all of a sudden be one of the most sought after bourbons. So that's what kind of pull and reputation that this competition has. So to give a little background on that, so last year we entered, first time we ever entered Whiskey Tree in any competition. And I vividly remember this, but I'm going to see what your memory was of it. So we get the email back, and you're always under an embargo, meaning you can't announce. Do you remember how that email came back to us about the Whiskey Tree High Rye and the award that it won last year for this?
No.
No? I remember it like it was yesterday. The thing for me was the 99 score. Like,
oh yeah, what is that? What do we do now?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things like, this can't be right. I actually had to go back and look. I mean, we went back and forth, like, I don't think this is even correct. Because no one, you can't get 100. I don't think anybody's ever gotten 100. And then we were best in class finalists and double gold and all those great things. And we felt, I mean, the immense pride that we felt at that point in time. And then you and Jeff went to San Francisco, represented the distillery, it got shown on, I mean, like, that's a moment that you can't replicate, except we did. And there were people that said this is a fluke and everybody can get one good bourbon that comes through. It could be a single barrel or whatever. And I remember when we were talking in advance of this, the big thing was like, we're going to enter this competition with the Whiskey Trees again. We're going to add, an additional one that's a single barrel, first single barrel we ever introduced into a competition. And it was like, well, hold your breath, because we've set a very high standard with what we did last year. So with that being said, why don't you tell everybody where we are now? So we won one double gold last year. What did we do this year, Luka?
My mouth's still watering.
I know.
Look, no, really, I took a sip in the first part of what you were saying. I was just thinking about what my palate was telling me. And it was just gushing. The roof of my mouth was dripping with viscosity. I mean, when Nancy tasted this in a barrel, she said, "Luka, this is unworldly." And I asked, "What does that mean?" She said, just what I said. It's unworldly. It's out of this world. I get it. I taste it. When you let it sit on your palate, you feel it right now. The way you're moving your mouth, I could tell.
Yeah.
When people come to the distillery and I taste them through and they're picking barrels, they could tell me whatever words they want to share, but their expression tells the story of it all. And that's what you're feeling right now. That's what I was feeling when you were talking. Look, y'all, we're just talking about what we won. We haven't even told you.
We haven't even told them yet. They're listening and they have no idea what we're talking about.
But that's what matters. This is what matters. What we're tasting, how we taste it, what we pull from it. I don't have to be poetic in how I share the flavors that come out. It's the flavors that combine with the mouthfeel that really solidify the aromatics that you get before you even put it on your palate. It all coincides with one another. As delicious as that cocktail was, the cocktail ain't me. It's the pour. And that's what we try to execute when we make a spirit, an experience in a bottle. Are you not getting that right now?
Of course I am. What I'm hanging on, and I'm quite certain everybody else is, what was the awards?
I thought you were going to say.
You were so good at like building up. Like, I know what the awards are, and I'm still waiting for you to say it.
The awards are best in the world right here in this class. Best in the world. The Whiskey Tree Weeded Bourbon won double gold with 96 points. The Whiskey Tree Weeded cognac finish. Nancy's pick, the unworldly pick, won double gold, the highest award also, with 96 points. We are extremely, extremely eager to share these bottles with you. Yeah. Cheers to you, bud.
Look, man, I mean, you've got the cognac finish. I've got the wheat one. This is something where you get some credibility with last year's awards. You get a lot of credibility with last year's awards. And we fight this over and over. Only Kentucky can make great bourbon. And they make fantastic bourbon, 100%. Would never discount that. But what we're doing here, I shouldn't say, what you're doing here with your team, and you mentioned Nancy, obviously that's Nancy Fraley, your mentor, master blender, world-renowned. Even she said last year, like, she had never had a bourbon that scored a 99, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the kind of where we are in the grand scheme of things. So now all of a sudden we get an email back, and not only did we get another double gold, which, I mean, I researched, and that's kind of my nerd thing to do. Like, I am not familiar with any Louisiana distillery who's made bourbon, crafted bourbon, blended it, distilled it, all that kind of stuff, that's won a double gold. They haven't scored a 99 or a 96. They haven't been a best-in-class finalist, and we've done all three. And that's within 2 years. Now we've done that multiple times. To me, like, that's a sense of pride that shouldn't only carry within us here. Like, that's a sense of pride that we talked about the food of New Orleans and how people just enjoy it, and it's got international acclaim. Louisiana is known for its culture, its music, its food, its everything. Like, now you have a bourbon that's being crafted here, being created here, and it's winning all those same awards. And it's up there with the who's who. And to me, that is such a sense of pride that you and the entire team here should feel, and has been absolutely validated. Because you and I both, we've been doing this since we both came in, when nobody would even give us the time of day. And now all of a sudden we went from people begging us, or excuse me, us begging them just to try our stuff, to now winning these types of double gold awards. I mean, it's a hell of a journey. Let's just say that.
I'll never forget when I was at an event and I walked up with a tray of bourbon over, and went to the table with some old timers, and they said, "Nah, you good. We've had Louisiana bourbon before. We're good. See if they want it." I'm like, please just try it. We're doing something special. And we got him to try it. And he came back later on in the night and he apologized to me. Yeah. And he says, "I'm so glad that you made me try it." Look, you're so good at what you do, Joe. When you talk about what the market's doing, awards other people's won and haven't won and all of this. And I don't know what's going on around me. We do what we do. We are ultimately trying to not only truly satisfy the most unsatisfiable palate in the world, the most sophisticated palate in the world, which is Louisiana palates in the South, but not only making a palatable bourbon, but an enjoyable bourbon. And that's what people are realizing, brother. And that's what's so enjoyable to me, to see people's reaction when they get to taste it and share it with others. Look, everybody wants a bottle to bring to a party that nobody else has had before. This is your chance.
Yep. Well, it's funny because you and I both know, we kind of, internally, we tipped off a couple people that have been loyal supporters of ours from the very get-go. And the first thing they said was, not surprised. I mean, and these are people that have heavy standing inside of Louisiana's bourbon community, good friends of ours, things like that. And to hear that was actually more, to me, kind of almost more surprising than actually winning the award, because they weren't surprised. And these are guys that have access to the who's who, the allocations, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I know you hosted 4 of them the other day, and they were like, y'all are killing it. And, that is not, people are seeing the results now. I remember the time, I do remember that event. And what you didn't say was, I tried to go get those old timers to drink, and they shooed me off way less, or or way less respectfully than they shoot you up. And I'm like, Luka, you're going to have to go do it, which happens a lot for us. But like knowing and understanding that journey, like we're getting the acclaims now, we're getting the awards now. But this was a long, hard journey that we're still climbing, that we don't see a finish line for. We're always looking for the next one. But I think about, and I want you to talk about the trip to Cognac, France with Nancy, learning the techniques, understanding what heat and humidity, which those old timers thought made bad bourbon, is now being recognized as making great bourbon, which is the irony of all this. This is not, it seems overnight to a lot of people because still people haven't heard of us. But tell us about like that trip to Europe. Tell us about like how hard it's been to understand how this climate, as unique as it is, because there's nothing like it in the world, but between the heat, the humidity, and the below sea level, and what you feel is it's doing to the bourbon and how you got to that point.
Hey, y'all have a good one, Chicago.
There you
Thank y'all
go.
for stopping by. Well, I'll tell you, remember that day when I called you and you said, "How was your day, Luka?" And I'm like, "It was really good. You'll never guess who stopped in. It was a judge from San Francisco where."
Yes, I vividly.
And I had no idea who he was, and he just introduced himself and told me that he was a judge in San Francisco. And he says, "I'm here in New Orleans to see where the Whiskey Tree came from." Mm-hmm. I just don't understand how you achieve that brandy feel to it. And I said, "You don't feel it?" He says, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's the humidity." In France, you have cognacs that mature in wet cellars and dry cellar. And the front part of their lifespan will spend in wet cellars. There's a place for humidity. And we know that affects the barrels in different ways. But Luka, what can you learn in France that you can't learn here in the world of bourbon? What are you going to learn in France that you're going to apply to an American whiskey? Which, listen, y'all, that's one of the most prideful things there is. This is America's whiskey, bourbon. But it's the tools that I learned in old world France that I apply to new world bourbon that affects it in ways that people find intriguing when they taste it. And they want to know, how did you achieve that? It's old world techniques. And quite frankly, it's the thing that when I say that we have the most sophisticated palate in the world here in New Orleans, we don't even realize it. We take it for granted. And I tell the story about me telling my mom at 5 years old that the sweet tea ain't sweet enough. And she says, "Baby, go make it yourself." That's the life of a Southerner. Our parents aren't afraid for us to make mistakes. Get out there and learn for yourself. When you make gumbo's always better 2 days after you make it rather than the day you make it. It goes through that molecular bonding state. That's what we have patience to allow to happen. And look, it's coming out in the finished product now, and people are sharing what they're tasting.
Yeah. And look, I think that you mentioned old world techniques. It's not just, that's a very broad phrase, old worlds. So let me tell you where I'm going with that. My kids, who are still on the wheel at the current moment, they joke with me all the time. They're like, "Dad, what was it like in the 1900s?" And those are times where I think about taking them out of the wheel. So when you talk about old world techniques, though, it's all relative. I know the answer to this question, but when you went to those distilleries in France, like, you're not talking like 100-year-old distilleries. You're not talking 200-year-old distilleries. You're learning techniques that are as old as
1296.
Yeah. So
can you even tell me what 1296 is? Neither can I.
I mean, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country this year.
Happily.
And that's triple.
Yeah.
Close to triple. Math.
Pretty amazing, huh? That's the beauty of this stuff right here. Elegance, age, patience, and you should taste it the same way. Don't be in a rush to shoot it. That's the worst phrase that I've ever heard, but yet it's how a lot of people start. Everybody come around and take a shot, right?
We cringe at that when we do events, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
You sip this, you allow your palate to acclimate, to feel it. You allow your sensory to enjoy the aromatics that it has to offer, and then let it come out in the palate. This is a science of patience, love, joy, and you just have to trust that it's going to come out the way you want it to come out, and look, man, have a respect for what's in that bottle. Don't just grab it and pour it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say something funny and then I'll say something serious. So what do you call when you give advice to customers and things like that? What's the TV version of that where you do that? Anyway, if you go to a bourbon tasting and you got a bunch of guys that are doing a distillery tasting because they're part of the distillery and you want it and they're giving you samples, there's two things you don't do. First one, you don't take shots. That bourbon has been sitting around, some of our bourbon's been sitting around for what, 9-10 years at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Please don't take a shot. The second thing, if you ask for a Coke or a Sprite, there has to be an adverse reflection on our side. It makes me cringe. So anyway, but I say all that because, I know I get to watch y'all day in and day out, and you mentioned the labor of love, basically, right? Like, you talk about the heat, the humidity, the environment. Like, I understand the slow proofing techniques. What you're able to do that big distilleries can't, because they just can't, is all of what makes this bourbon special. And I think it's a testament to the hard work that y'all do. And it's that extra care that is obviously being reflected in the awards. And it's something different and something special. And it's something that is noticeable and different. And that's what people search for every single day in their lives, is what is something special that I get to experience today? And for me, that's where we are right now. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you, brother. The most unsatisfiable market in the world is the American market and the American palate.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, you got to enjoy it how you like it.
Yeah. So you got the Nancy's pick. I've got the weeded. I'll say this. I have to say, the rye got all the awards last year, and my feelings were hurt. I don't have a lot of feelings, but because I've always loved the weeded. So,
and I studying all year.
I drank the weeded. I've always drank the weeded, and I always felt like I was the little, I was the kid sitting at the kiddie table while all the adults were drinking. To me, it's fun now that my favorite bourbon personally is the one that got an award as well. So we all get to have it. So
it's not only your favorite. It's not only your favorite.
No, it's a lot of people's
favorite.
favorites.
I'm going to tell you, we watch the numbers all year long.
You're right.
Why are we selling more weeded? The price point's higher. We're selling, weeded's moving a little better than the rye is, but yet the rye won the big award.
Yeah.
Well, now
we know.
Here we go.
And look, I talked about doing these tastings, the wheat, between the Whiskey Tree Bourbon, the blue label, and the wheat, it moves fast. So, all right. So real quick, we can't officially announce anything because we've been told we're embargoed till I think June 15th. But I will tell you this is not the last big award that we won. There's another big competition, not quite as big as San Francisco because it's the penultimate one. Did I say that correctly?
I don't know.
That's a hard word to say. But it is a big one, and we are super excited. They get gold, silver, bronze. We got a gold. We got 2 silvers. The gold is the Whiskey Tree Weeded again, scored a 97. So we're super excited about that. And then the Whiskey Tree Bourbon and the Whiskey Tree Rye each got 91s. So lots coming from that. Hopefully by the next time we do one of these, which I think we should be able to because it's June 17th, we'll be able to fully announce it. But lots of great awards. So a testament to you and the team again. Y'all are doing great work. Super excited to be a part of it. And I know what I always say, the best is yet to come. So can't wait to see what comes next. So with that being said, give us a couple more minutes. We've got some stuff. We'll give you a heads up on what we're doing in the market, what's coming up next right after this.
Our distillery provides a one-of-a-kind setting that combines the city's rich history with modern sophistication, perfect for weddings, bachelor parties, corporate events, and more.
Members enjoy a range of exciting perks, from free drinks to exclusive releases. Become a member today.
All right, last segment, Luka. We got one more thing. Let's get it wrapped up. So got a few big events coming up. We're going to be out in the market. So why don't you tell us about a few of them?
Oh man, we got events every week. We got all kind of stuff going on. And summertime is slow in New Orleans. Who says the people from up north don't want to come down here because it's too hot? Now's the time when you exfoliate your skin. You enjoy yourself. You come down here and sweat, have a few drinks, and get some good meals. Joe, tomorrow night.
Nobody says that, Luka, but okay, let's go with it.
I have a very cool experience set up tomorrow night at Whiskey and Ash in Slidell. Patrick is putting on a dinner for 12 guests.
12. That's a very small number.
I'm not even going to say what the price of the ticket was. We're going down there and we're going to enjoy ourselves. It involves multiple dishes, multiple pours and cocktails, and we're gonna live it up for about 2.5, 3 hours.
What kind of spirits are they putting in those cocktails?
Oh, 7-3 spirits across the board. Perfect. I'm gonna be there talking about our story and sharing the history of what we and how we do it, and enjoying good company. So that'll be a Whiskey and Ash in Slidell.
Patrick's a great guy. Huge support from the get-go. So I know it's going to be a big event. I know we're both excited about it.
You know, he's the first one in the market to wipe out the biggest brand in spirits and say, we don't need them.
That's true.
We got St. Rock. He made the switch over, and that was a year and a half ago. And he watched his sales go up. How crazy is that? Kudos to him, man. I love Patrick. I love Patrick. Right. Then we got a River Ridge tasting over at River Ridge. They might have a couple of bottles of that triple cast left, which a lot of great feedback about that. That was the only triple cast we ever put out in the market. Arguably a cigar blend. It would pair well with a cigar. You know, say what you will, but people thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, and
look, they got a few bottles left.
Yeah, I think it's not many. If
that'll be at 4 to 6.
Yeah, and Eric's going to be
12.
there. Are you going to be there too?
Eric's going to be there.
Eric's going to be there. Yeah, I know. The big thing with that pick is the 4 biggest bourbon clubs, including Louisiana Bourbon Collective, including BXL, including Southern Bayou. They all were a part of this pick. And it was the first time in the history of the state they were all in the same bottle. So that's a big bottle. I know people are still asking about that. So if they have any left,
it wasn't only a big bottle; it was a big barrel. It was 70 cases.
Yeah, that was a big.
And John committed to all of it.
Yeah, and it moved like hotcakes. So if they have any left, I know people will be excited.
I know he set back a few for different events like this. We got the Canseco's Father's Day tasting raffle from 5 to 7:30 on the 18th. Of June, so that's gonna be a big deal. And then we got Ricky's Liquors tasting over there at in Kennebra, 10 a.m. to 12:30. So we'll be over there pouring some spirits and pouring Whiskey Tree and sharing the goodness over there too. So we always got something going on. Be looking for us. Follow us at 7-3 Distilling, and you'll find out where we at. Because you know, listen. It's all about getting on people's palates.
Yeah.
And
we'll be doing something with Southside Cafe. They did a barrel pick a few weeks ago. And I know they want to do something in advance of Father's Day. So we'll be there at some point. We got to get everything finalized with Chris. Chris has been another one of those guys from the very get-go. You know, huge supporter of ours. This past barrel did a lot of honoring Dan, who was the original owner. So super excited about that. So keep, you know, as you said, keep an eye on social media on when that comes out.
Joe, the barrel pick at Southside, the 35th anniversary. They sold a lot of those, but it's a soft, easy 95 proof that they use in their old fashions. So ask for it. Yeah. The other day I was sitting there having lunch with the King of Miami. He came in town with his family, and I hosted him last Friday in the swamp, and we had pours around the table, and we got to talk through it and all of that. And he's a sucker for the stains, man.
He is.
And you know, we got to enjoy it. And you just, you know, you go back and you revisit these barrels and you forget just how different they really are. And that's the beauty of a cash strength, single barrel that a specific panel or company enjoys. So it's always nice to go revisit those.
Yeah. And look, I mean, we've got a lot of exciting things in the pipeline. One of the things we talked about, definitely stay tuned to social media. We highly advise. So we mentioned all these big awards that we won. We kept everything secret. We didn't release anything to the public via social media. However, members of our 7-3 membership club did get an email the night before with all of that information. So they got to know that the Whiskey Tree Redo won double gold. They got to know that Nancy's pick got double gold. And look, they get access to everything in advance, right? Any distillery pick, which I think we got a thumbs up pick coming out very soon, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a big thing. Definitely highly recommend joining that club. We do a lot of communication. There's a lot of discounts. You get advanced access to specific barrels such as Nancy's. Like if you were to email today, we would set aside a bottle and get you taken care of. So definitely sign up for that in order to become a member of the club. Stay tuned to social media. We're very excited. We've got a special guest next week, June 17th. So a week from today, you've got a special guest that's going to be coming. I think you did some content with her today. You want to announce who that is?
Oh yeah, Carla's all over the place down here in New Orleans, touching restaurants and bars and sharing the goodness that we have to offer. But yeah, she brings a lot of energy, and she'll be fun to have here in the stave room.
Yeah, so June 17th around 4:30 p.m. Come and join us. We're going to be taping our next episode of Whiskey Tree Legends with Master Distiller Luka. It's going to be an exciting thing. Couple quick notes on that. $5 cocktails throughout the entire event. $10 frets.
$5 cocktails.
I know. Well, if I sign off on it, that means the numbers are going to have to work somehow.
That's
so
right.
it's definitely a big event. You get to come. You get to ask questions. We didn't do that this time around because we had so much news. But anything else you want to add before I start the sign off?
Look, people ask me, Luka, how do you know that's going to move in the market? When you have experiences like we had the 4 guys here the other day at one of the biggest bourbon clubs and the most influential palates in the state and really in the Southeast region, come and tell us what they like as far as what we have to offer, what needs to stay long in the barrel, what's not ready yet, and all that good stuff. You ever want to be a part of that? Reach out to us, man. We always cherish your feedback, and we look forward to bringing up your knowledge about what we do in the world.
Well, look, cheers. I know we switched bourbons. You got the Whiskey Tree Wheat. I got Nancy's pick. You're right. Freaking good, man. Freaking good. So, look, this is an exciting podcast. This is our first true episode. We did a pilot. I'm excited about this. We're going to do this a lot more frequently. We hope people will join us. But cheers to you. Cheers to everything. Super excited. Until next time. All right, you remember the tagline?
Oh, man, I'll never forget this tagline.
All right, let's do it.
When you're ready for a pour, you just come meet me at the tree.
All right, cheers.